Aesop, like his fables, has become something of a fable himself. Was he a slave? Was he a scholar? Was he a traveller? Was he all three? Was he one or more people? Even his birthplace has been the bone of contention. Was it Phrygia, Samos, Thrace, or Sardis? Aesop, according to the facts gleaned from the incomplete annals of history, was born of slave, served two masters, and so pleased one with his learning and wit that he was made a free man. His career seems meteoric, in fact. From free man to philosopher and ambassador to Croesus, another being imbued with legendary status, before being hurled off a cliff by the citizens of Delphi, who were apparently annoyed by his sarcastic wit. Even his death is open to interpretation. As ambassador to Croesus, he was entrusted with the task of bringing gold to the Delphians. However, outraged by their covetous attitudes, he apparently sent the gold back to Croesus rather than divide it among them, and this so enraged the Delphians that they accused him of impiety. Either way, he ended up tossed off the cliff. This story of his life could mirror several of his fables. Certainly it contains inciting incidents. Our fables in this episode are taken from the 1912 translation by V.S. Vernon Jones. We encounter cats and mice, foxes and storks, and hares and tortoises. Our guest storyteller is Jonathan Brandt. The Lion and the Mouse. A lion, asleep in his lair, was waked up by a mouse running over his face. Losing his temper, he seized it with his paw and was about to kill it. The mouse, terrified, piteously entreated him to spare its life. "Please let me go," it cried, "and one day I will repay you for your kindness." The idea of so insignificant a creature ever being able to do anything for him amused the lion so much that he laughed aloud and good-humouredly let it go. But the mouse's chance came after all. One day the lion got entangled in a net which had been spread for game by some hunters, and the mouse heard and recognised his roars of anger and ran to the spot. Without more ado, it set to work to gnaw the ropes with its teeth, and succeeded before long in setting the lion free. "There," said the mouse, "you laughed at me when I promised I would repay you, but now you see, even a mouse can help a lion."
The Grasshopper and the Ants. One fine day in winter, some ants were busy drying their store of corn, which had got rather damp during a long spell of rain. Presently up came a grasshopper, and begged them to spare her a few grains. "For," she said, "I'm simply starving." The ants stopped work for a moment, though this was against their principles.
"May we ask," said they, "what were you doing with yourself all last summer? Why didn't you collect a store of food for the winter?"
"The fact is," replied the grasshopper, "I was so busy singing that I hadn't the time."
"If you spend the summer singing," replied the ants, "you can't do better than spend the winter dancing."
And they chuckled and went on with their work. The Fox and the Stork. A fox invited a stork to dinner, at which the only fare provided was a large flat dish of soup. The fox lapped it up with great relish, but the stork, with her long bill, tried in vain to partake of the savoury broth. Her evident distress caused the sly fox much amusement, but not after the stork invited him in turn and set before him a pitcher with a long and narrow neck, into which she could get her bill with ease. Thus, while she enjoyed her dinner, the fox sat by, hungry and helpless, for it was impossible for him to reach the tempting contents of the vessel. The Hare and the Tortoise. A hare was one day making fun of a tortoise for being so slow upon his feet. "Wait a bit," said the tortoise. "I'll run a race with you, and I'll wager that I win."
"Ah, well,"
replied the hare, who was much amused at the idea.
"let's try and see."
And it was soon agreed that the fox should set a course for them and be the judge. When the time came, both started off together, but the hare was soon so far ahead that he thought he might as well have a rest. So down he lay and fell fast asleep. Meanwhile, the tortoise kept plodding on, and in time reached the goal. At last, the hare woke up with a start and dashed on at his fastest, but only to find that the tortoise had already won the race. Slow and steady wins the race.
The Cat and the Mice. There was once a house that was overrun with mice. A cat heard of this and said to herself, "That's the place for me." And off she went and took up her quarters in the house, and caught the mice one by one and ate them. At last the mice could stand it no longer, and they determined to take to their holes and stay there. "That's awkward," said the cat to herself. "The only thing to do is to coax them out by a trick." So she considered a while, and then climbed up the wall and let herself hang down by her hind legs from a peg, and pretended to be dead. By and by a mouse peeped out and saw the cat hanging there. "Aha!" it cried. "You're very clever, madam, no doubt, but you may turn yourself into a bag of meal hanging there, if you like. Yet you won't catch us coming anywhere near you." If you are wise, you won't be deceived by the innocent airs of those whom you have once found to be dangerous.